So, but
Yeah.
you're teaching in the UK as well now, right? I mean, you're running a dive business in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a company that I instruct through, and I have a friendly dive shop that I work with in Poole in the south coast of the UK. And yeah, I'm doing a bit of teaching here. I think the wreck diving in the coastal waters of the UK is incredible, like world-class wreck diving, and but it's subject to weather. So if we think about the Philippines, out of 100 days, you'd probably dive 95 or even 99 of them. And you might lose a day here and there to a typhoon or Habagat, the strong seasonal winds. But generally, you could get in diving most days of the year. And I would say even in the summer, in the UK, you've got something like a 30% chance of losing that to poor weather. So it does make it quite difficult to schedule a class. So if you wanted to do a tech class with a deep diving component, it's quite challenging for people to come into the UK. Right, I'm here for these specific days and I want to achieve this course. That would be a challenge. So the UK diving tends to be to British people who are based locally, and we tend to have a bit more of a flexible schedule and a weekend-based thing. So, you know, okay, we've been blown out for these dives. We'll do them. We'll try and do it next weekend or whenever. So, but you know, when you get it good, it's world class, like really world class, and real wrecks with real histories and the opportunity to do exploration as well. So, you know, even in places which are frequently dived, you don't have to travel very far before the skipper's got unknowns that they'd love to have.
But what are you doing? I mean, you charter a boat. I mean, you have your own dive equipment basically, and you charter a boat then for the day, and you go out with. So how does it work actually? I don't know.
Yeah, that tends to be the case. So it's a little bit different, for example, than going to the Philippines, where you turn up with a suitcase and they provide a dive guide, or they're happy. You know, once you establish a relationship, they're probably happy for you to go take the boat out for yourself, and obviously you pay for that. But here it tends to be a bit more. Because of the sea conditions, the boats are bigger. So typically the boats would be like 8 or 12 people on board. And then you're looking at 50. Well, you know, for a non-technical dive, it could be £20. But generally, when you get into the tech diving, you might have to travel a bit further, or the skipper's afloat for a bit longer. So you're probably looking at £50. So what's that? 75 US dollars
for the boat alone, basically, plus gas, plus the other stuff
per person for the boat.
Per person for the boat. Okay,
yeah, exactly. And then you pay for the gas on top of that. And then I would say that in Asia, you'd be unusual if you had your own tanks. You know, that's really part of the service of the dive center is providing the tanks, whereas here it's the other way around. It's quite uncommon to be able to rent tanks other than as part of doing a course. Obviously, if you wanted to do an open water course, the dive shop wouldn't expect you to buy a tank, for example, to do the course. So the dive shop would have tanks for that. But once you get into technical diving, twin sets, in reality, most people have their own gear. So it's quite a difference. And it feeds back into the GUE side of things. So you meet people and then you borrow their gear or their friend's gear. And you know, most technical divers would have at least 2 sets of tanks, for example. So when you come in, you can borrow tanks off a friend, or, you know, and there's quite a nice community spirit in the UK and broadly in Europe with that kind of thing. So people understand you're not going to get on your Cathay Pacific with a set of double tanks and then fly to go diving. So that's all provided you know, by the community. And then of course there are dive centers that will provide a service a little bit more like like an Asian dive center, and then there's a famous GUE center in Croatia, and they really sort of give you the one-stop service, although it does tend to be more individual diving as opposed to like dive guide led. So they you know, they're almost like providing a taxi service out to the dive sites, as opposed to like the full service situation. And you are a bit more independent because of that, but you're a bit more responsible because of that as well. So there tends to be less help with gearing up and things like that. So we've all seen it in Asia, where you roll your dive bag into the dive shop, go to the restaurant for dinner, come the next morning, and all your gear's been set up for you, and you almost,
and the tank is
like,
analyzed as well.
Yeah, exactly, go like that, and they almost dress you right and push you into the water. So I mean, I certainly enjoy that aspect of things, but these days, you know, diving more in Europe, you're lucky if someone helps you put your fins on. So that's you know, when you've got 100 kilos of dive equipment on, it can be a little bit of a challenge, like putting fins on. So sometimes someone helping with that can be truly appreciated. So that's a totally different experience in reality.